Welcome back then folks to the second build in Special Projects for Forza Horizon 5 today. This one of course I alluded to earlier on being a fictional build, but it is definitely inspired by real life. And I find this a bit of a curious one because based on the visuals, based on the performance, based on the potential, you could certainly imagine this being real, and I'm also kind of surprised that nobody's done this with their own XFR or XFR-S on this occasion, because what we've done is built an XFR-S GT. Because of course there's an XKR, there's an XKR-S, and there's an XKR-S GT, which has this very similar paint style, the white with the black stripes on the bonnet, yellow calipers, black wheels, and the much larger rear wing with some extra aero. It's not a crazy difference to the RS on paper, but it's extremely expensive to buy one of those these days, and this is basically inspired by that, but for the Super Saloon version. So I thought, what would a car like that be like? Well, much like the XKR-S, I didn't want to go crazy in terms of power and stuff, but to have it be good, to have it be better, but still to be believable. So in terms of spec, standard power, just like the XKR-S has, 550, not exactly lacking there. It does weigh less. The standard XFR-S is 1987 kilos, now down to 1905. To me that seems pretty believable, around what, 70-80 kilos difference. And as far as the point level, both are A-class, standard form and now, from 728 stock, now up to 767. So again, to me that sounds pretty believable to what the car should, or at least could be. And incidentally, aside from buying the car, this special project will only cost you 28 grand. So it's pretty cheap to do, and potentially useful if you wanted to use it in career mode, if you will, in main event races or online. And of course I'll put the tune code on screen, as well as the livery code on screen. This is one of those that I have done myself on both occasions, so use those codes in the respective searches if you just want to grab the car exactly as is, straight onto your vehicle. Now, as far as the actual bits and bobs that we've changed, for the aero, there's no difference at all. As far as the tyres on this particular car, I've slightly upgraded it, of course, because the GT version is more about cornering rather than straight line speed, so upgraded from stock to sport. You could go even higher, and you will still be within A-class, but like I said, if you want to do that, you can. I didn't want to make it feel immediately too good. So if you want to view that as kind of upgrading the upgrade, then absolutely go for it. As far as the tyres themselves, I've upgraded the front one fully, so much wider, again for handling, and on the rear, just a little bit of an upgrade to 315mm. As far as the rims, you might be curious what those are. They're standard. It's the absolutely standard XFR-S wheels. The reason why I've gone for that is because if you look at the rims on the XKR-S GT, they're quite chunky. They're like big, dark, chunky, lightweight looking wheels, and that's exactly what I've done here, because to me they already suit the car, and at least in that colour they kind of blend in a bit more. As far as power, of course we've done nothing, but for the flywheel I have upgraded that to the sports, more so to save a bit of weight of course. As far as the brakes, racing brakes are a bit of overkill, but it's the only option you've got aside from standard, and of course it allows you to have the bright yellow calipers, so that alone is worth it. As far as the suspension, I have gone for the racing springs. Again, it's more than I would have liked to have done, but I really did want to be able to get in there and adjust the handling to exactly how I wanted it, so I have gone for that. As far as the anti-roll, we've gone for sports on the front and the rear. For the chassis reinforcement, we've got the sports, so a bit of extra weight, but still less than standard. And speaking of the weight, it just drops a little bit to go to the street weight reduction, so of course we've done that as well. And then finally for the drivetrain, for the clutch, we've got the racing one. Again, I wouldn't have really wanted to go for racing, I would have preferred a sport or street clutch, but that's the only option you've got. As far as the transmission, we've left it standard. As far as the driveline, again, sport. And for the diff, I've gone for the racing one. Again, a bit of overkill, but it's not like you have enough options. Like I said, we haven't done a huge amount to it because that's kind of the nature of the GT. It's more of almost like a pro drive approach, like it's focused in on the aero and the cornering. So we've got 35 PSI on the tyres. Incidentally, as you can see, not exactly slow, 3.9 seconds to 60, 205 or close enough miles an hour. So not bad at all for a car that's nowhere near the peak of A-class. As far as the alignment, a little bit of camber, 0.5, no toe for this one, 5 degrees of caster, anti-roll is non-adjusted. For springs, 190 and 187. I've actually increased the ride height versus what it comes with the racing suspension, because it tells you in the menu how many centimetres or inches or whatever unit of measurement you're using, it drops it by. So I've made up a little bit of that difference. It drops you down to 11. On the racing springs from a standard of presumably around 14. So I've put it up a little bit because I didn't want it to look slammed on the ground. Much like in the Gran Turismo builds, you want the car to look realistic, as well as performing realistically. So for the dampers, we've got 13, 12, 8 and 7. Of course, the aero is non-adjustable. And for the diff, 25%, and 40. So it's pretty easy to do, likewise with the Mugen from earlier on today, and just like with that version, of course we need to jump out into a race and show you what this car can do in practice. Now if you do decide to grab this particular build and the livery and combine them together, I really do hope you enjoy it, because as you can kind of tell, this was almost like a little passion project for me. It's been in the works for so long, I'm not expecting it to blow your mind, but then again the GT doesn't really blow your mind compared to the RS when it comes to the XK either. It's more so just something that's that little extra bit of special on the car. It's rarer, it's more expensive, a bit sharper, almost like comparing a Porsche GT3 to a GT3 RS, especially back around the 2000s. Like I said, I'm kind of surprised that nobody's taken it upon themselves to sort of build one of these on an XFR-S, and of course I did review the RS in real life, and the handling is way sharper and way twitchier than the normal XFR, so it lends itself toward being more of a track car anyway. But yeah, at least if nobody does it in real life, you can do it here in the game. I hope you enjoy it. Check out the Mugen from earlier today. Of course, stick around for more special projects here on the channel, both in Forza and certainly in Gran Turismo 7 as well. But for now, thanks for watching.